The bitter December wind sliced through Megan Reed's thin jacket as she hurried along the crowded Manhattan sidewalk. At 34, she had become an expert at stretching every dollar to care for herself and her 10-year-old daughter, Haley. Her modest administrative job at Hartwell Industries had been her lifeline after her ex-husband disappeared 3 years earlier, leaving behind nothing but debt and heartbreak. "Morning, Miss Reed," called Pete, the security guard, as she badged into the gleaming skyscraper. "Morning, Pete." "Freezing out there today?" she said, stomping snow from her worn boots before the building's warmth enveloped her. She didn't notice the disheveled man sitting against a wall outside, half hidden behind a pile of cardboard. Few people did. Most hurried by, eyes glued to their phones, blind to the city's growing homeless population. But Megan wasn't like most people. On the 22nd floor, she settled at the reception desk in HR just as her supervisor, Victoria Dawson, breezed in, immaculate as always in designer clothes that cost more than Megan's monthly rent. "The quarterly reports need to be on my desk by noon," Victoria said sharply. "And Mr. Hartwell is visiting today. Everything must be perfect." "Mr. Hartwell?" the CEO. Megan asked, startled. In 18 months, she'd never seen William Hartwell, the reclusive founder who rarely appeared outside major events. "Yes, that Mr. Hartwell," Victoria replied with an eye roll. "He's touring all departments today. Make sure the coffee station has those special beans he likes." By lunchtime, snow fell in thick flakes. Megan took her brown paper bag and stepped outside, only to see the same homeless man again, shivering violently. She hesitated. Then, ignoring the cold, she approached him. "Sir," she said softly, "would you like half my sandwich? It's turkey and cheese." The man looked up, surprise flashing in his weary blue eyes. "That's very kind of you," he said, his voice articulate despite his rough appearance. She smiled faintly. "It's nothing, really." She handed him half her sandwich and her thermos of chicken noodle soup. "Keep the thermos for now. I'll be back after work." He frowned. "Why would you help a stranger?" "My dad always said kindness costs nothing but means everything," she said, glancing at her watch. "I've got to get back. Will you be here later?" He nodded, and she hurried inside, unaware that Victoria had seen the entire exchange from the lobby window. By afternoon, a crisis hit. One of the top executives had resigned, throwing Victoria into a frenzy. At 4:30, she called Megan. "I need you to stay late," she said curtly. "I can't," Megan replied, panic tightening her voice. "I have to pick up my daughter by 6, or they charge late fees. I can't afford that." "This isn't optional," Victoria said icily. "Maybe Hartwell Industries isn't the right place for someone with your constraints." Megan's heart dropped. "Please, I'll find someone to pick her up." After dozens of calls, her elderly neighbor Mrs. Wilson agreed to get Haley. Crisis barely avoided, Megan threw herself into the work until the office emptied. At 7:30, she remembered her promise. Looking out the window, she saw the homeless man still huddled in the snow. Ignoring Victoria's disapproving glare, Megan ordered a hot meal from the deli across the street, paid with her emergency credit card, and took it to him. "You came back," he said, eyes bright with disbelief. "I promised," she smiled, handing him the bag. "It's a hot dinner. And here." She pulled off her scarf and offered it. "I can't take that, you'll freeze." "I have others," she lied. "Please." Reluctantly, he accepted both. "Thank you, miss." "Megan." "Megan Reed." "Thank you, Megan Reed. I'm Jack." "Nice to meet you, Jack," she said. "I wish I could do more, but I need to get back before my boss has a meltdown." As she turned to leave, he asked quietly, "Why risk your boss's anger for a stranger?" Megan smiled sadly. "Because people helped me when I had nothing. I'm just returning the favor." When she returned, Victoria was waiting. "Did you just give company-ordered food to a homeless person?" "I paid for myself." "That man's been loitering for days," Victoria snapped. "Security was told to move him, not encourage him." "He's a human being, Victoria. It's freezing." Victoria's lips tightened. Inappropriate behavior for a Hartwell employee. "You represent this company even at lunch." Megan said nothing, forcing herself to finish the reports. At 9 o'clock, she was almost done when security approached. "Ms. Reed," Victoria announced smugly, "we've reviewed security footage. You fraternized with that vagrant and gave him company property." "What? I bought the food myself." "The thermos," Victoria said triumphantly. "It has the Hartwell logo. That's company property." Megan gaped. "It's a $5 thermos. I was going to get it back tomorrow." "Company policy is clear about theft," Victoria said coldly. "Hand over your badge." Tears stung Megan's eyes. "You're firing me? Over a thermos? Please, I have a daughter." "Your final check will be mailed," Victoria said, unbothered. "Clean out your desk." Half an hour later, Megan stood outside the building, clutching a cardboard box of her belongings as snow swirled around her. Jack was gone. The spot where he'd been sitting was empty. "How am I going to tell Haley?" she whispered. "How are we going to survive?" Upstairs in the darkened CEO's office, a figure watched her leave. William Hartwell set down his glass and picked up the phone. "Frank," he said quietly, "I need you to do something for me. Immediately." The next morning, Megan sat at her tiny kitchen table, staring blankly at her laptop. She'd already applied for 17 jobs, but the holiday hiring freeze meant no one was hiring until January. Her daughter appeared, backpack slung over her shoulder. "Mom, are you okay?" "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just tired." Megan lied. "Did you pack your math homework?" Haley nodded, studying her mother's face with knowing eyes. "You don't have to go to work today?" "I've got some time off," Megan said, forcing a smile. "How about I walk you to school?" After dropping Haley off, Megan sat in a coffee shop to continue job hunting. Her phone rang. "Is this Megan Reed?" asked an unfamiliar male voice. "Yes." "This is Frank Turner, Mr. William Hartwell's personal assistant. Mr. Hartwell would like to meet with you today at 11 a.m. Megan nearly dropped her phone. "The CO? Why?" "Mr. Hartwell didn't share his reasons. A car will pick you up at 10:30. Where are you now?" Still stunned, Megan gave him the address. Her mind raced. Perhaps Victoria hadn't been authorized to fire her. Maybe she could get her job back. At 10:30 sharp, a sleek black car arrived. "Miss Reed," the driver said. "I'm Diana, Mr. Hartwell's driver." Instead of heading downtown, they drove to an elegant brownstone in the Upper East Side. "Mr. Hartwell works from home on Thursdays," Diana explained, leading her inside. "He'll see you in the library." Megan waited nervous, surrounded by shelves of books and photos of a younger William with his parents and colleagues. Then the door opened and she froze. Standing there was Jack, clean-shaven, hair neatly trimmed, wearing a tailored suit. "Hello, Megan," he said, the same calm voice, now polished. "Jack?" she whispered, confusion swirling. "William Hartwell, actually," he said gently, extending a hand. "Please sit." Megan sank into the chair, her pulse thundering in her ears. "You're Mr. Hartwell? But how?" William smiled faintly. "I can explain. About 3 weeks ago, I decided to step away from the boardroom and see how my company and the world really worked. No driver, no penthouse, no assistants. I wanted to experience what our employees and the people on the streets went through every day. So I left everything behind for a while." Megan blinked, still reeling. "You pretended to be homeless?" "In a way," he admitted. "I dressed down, slept rough, spoke to people who had nothing. Most ignored me. Some were kind out of pity. But you, Miss Reed," he paused, eyes softening. "You shared your meal with me. Twice. You risked your job to show a stranger compassion. You didn't just give food, you gave dignity." Her throat tightened. "You mean you saw what happened last night?" "I did. Victoria called me to report your behavior," William said, leaning forward. "She claimed you'd violated company policy. I reviewed the footage myself. What I saw wasn't misconduct. It was humanity." Megan lowered her gaze, embarrassed. "I didn't do it for recognition. I just didn't want you, the man I thought you were, to freeze to death." William chuckled softly. That's precisely why I wanted to meet you. People like you are the reason Hartwell Industries still has meaning. He stood and walked a window where snow fell gently against the glass. I started this company in my 20s because I wanted to make a difference. Somewhere along the line, I got lost in profit margins and quarterly goals. You reminded me that we're supposed to be helping people, not stepping over them. Megan swallowed hard. Sir, if you're here to rehire me, I'd be grateful. But if not, I understand. He turned back to her. Rehire you? Megan, I'm promoting you. She blinked. Promoting me? Yes. As of today, you'll head our new employee compassion and outreach initiative, a department focused on supporting struggling staff, charity partnerships, and community programs. You'll report directly to me. Megan stared at him, speechless. I don't even know what to say. Say yes, William said kindly. Your salary will triple what you were making before, and you'll have full benefits, health care, housing allowance, tuition coverage for your daughter. Tears welled in her eyes. Tuition? You do that for Haley. She deserves a chance to grow up without worrying about her mother's next paycheck, William said softly. I know what it's like to grow up without that security. My parents struggled once, too. Megan pressed a trembling hand to her mouth. I can't thank you enough. You already have, he said, smiling. You reminded me what kindness looks like. A knock came at the door. Frank entered. Sir, the board is ready for your call. I'll join in 5, William said before turning back to Megan. Before you go, I'd like you to accompany me to the office tomorrow. I want the staff to see that compassion is the new company policy. Of course, she whispered. As she stood, William hesitated. One more thing. Victoria Dawson is no longer with the company. Megan blinked. You fired her? I prefer to say we redirected her career path, he said with a wry smile. But yes, Hartwell Industries needs leaders who inspire, not intimidate. That night, Megan walked home to falling snow, feeling lighter than she had in years. Haley met her at the door. Mom, you're smiling, she said, eyes wide. I had a good day, Megan said, kneeling to hug her daughter tightly. A really good day. The following morning, the entire 22nd floor buzzed with whispers as Megan stepped out of the elevator beside William Hartwell himself. Miss Reed, gasped one co-worker. Is that? Yes, William said warmly, placing a hand on Megan's shoulder. Meet our new director of compassion and outreach. The room fell silent. Victoria's empty office door stood ajar, a quiet reminder that arrogance had no place there anymore. During the meeting, William addressed the entire company via live stream. Yesterday, I witnessed one of our employees demonstrate what true leadership looks like, not through authority, but through kindness. Megan Reed didn't just represent this company well. She represented humanity. Let her be an example to all of us. Applause erupted. Megan flushed red, overwhelmed, but William smiled encouragingly. Afterward, he invited her to lunch at the company's top-floor restaurant. Over steaming bowls of soup, he said quietly, You know, Megan, this started as an experiment. I wanted to see whether compassion still existed in a world obsessed with success. And what did you find? She asked. He smiled. I found you. She blushed, unsure how to respond. I'm glad I could help remind you. You did more than that, he said softly. You reminded me that wealth means nothing if it can't be used to make others' lives better. Over the next few months, the new outreach department flourished. Megan organized food drives, employee hardship grants, and scholarship programs for underprivileged youth. William often joined quietly, rolling up his sleeves beside her. One evening, as they packed boxes for a winter shelter, he turned to her. You know, Megan, the night you found me, I'd almost given up. I didn't think anyone cared anymore. But your kindness changed everything. She smiled. Then maybe we both saved each other. Their eyes met for a lingering moment. One of quiet understanding, not romance, but respect and shared purpose. As they finished loading the last box, snow began to fall outside again, soft and silent. William looked out the window and said, Funny how one small act can ripple through an entire company, an entire city. Megan nodded. That's how kindness works. It spreads. Epilogue. Months later, Hartwell Industries was featured in a national magazine. The billionaire who lived as a homeless man, and the woman who changed his company forever. The photo showed William and Megan standing side by side in a community center, handing out meals. Haley stood between them, grinning proudly. Below the headline, a quote from William Reed. In a world obsessed with wealth, Megan Reed reminded me that true fortune lies in compassion. She taught me that success isn't measured by profit, but by how many lives we touch. And under it, a simple line Megan had written for the company's new motto, be the reason someone believes in kindness again. As snow fell outside their New York office, Megan smiled through the window, thinking of that first day in the cold, when she shared her sandwich with a stranger who turned out to be her miracle. Because sometimes the smallest act of compassion becomes a story that changes everything.